everyone, Josie Joy here, the creator and founder of Josie Joy's Creations. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm glad to have you. So today we are going to be doing the beret Puff Stitch beanie. It is something that I learned to do years ago when I first learned how to crochet. It was one of my first beanies that I ever made. And it is just a classic beanie. It is really cute. It is really fun. And I hope you all enjoy it. Come on, let's go. So the materials we will be needing today is a 4.5 millimeter hook, scissors, a stitch marker, a tapestry needle, and a row counter. The yarn you'll be needing today, you can use any color you want, but it does need to be medium weight yarn, so number 4. I am using this pretty coral pink yarn that is Karen Simply Soft, but you can, it doesn't matter what brand or what kind as long as it is a medium weight yarn. Okay, so we are going to make a magic ring. Okay, now we're going to make 8 puff stitches in this magic ring. So we are going to yarn over, and we are going to go into the magic ring, pull up a loop, and we are going to only bring it through 2 loops on our hook. So you should still have 2 loops on that hook. Okay? Now we're going to yarn over and go in the magic ring again and pull through another 2 loops on your hook. Okay? And we're going to do this 2 more times. So you should do this a total of 4 times. And you should have 5 ring or loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 5 loops on your hook. And how you secure this puff stitch is you just chain 1. And let me hold it up right there. If you can see that. My lighting's not really that great back here, but that is what it should look like. And you will do this 8 times. And I will see you back here when you've done this. I just finished round 1. And now I'm going to slip stitch at the top here. And chain 1. Okay. And now for round 2. You should do 2 puff stitches in the chain 1 space. So, right here where my hook is pointing through is where you chained 1, right here. So that is where you want to do your puff stitch, and you want to do 2 of them because we're doing an increase. 2 puff stitches in each chain 1 space. Okay, so you're going to go in here, you're going to do your puff stitch, my first puff stitch, and you're going to go back into that same stitch and do another puff stitch. See how I have 2 puff stitches in 1 chain 1 space. Okay, and you will do that in every chain 1 space around. You should have 16 puff stitches. I will see you back here when you're done. Okay, so I just finished round 2. So you slip stitch into this one right here, and you chain 1. Okay. Put that right there. Yeah. Okay. Now I am going to now we're going to do an increase in every other stitch, or every other chain 1. So in the first chain 1 is just a normal, you don't do any increase, so you just do 1 puff stitch. So just do 1 puff stitch. Okay. And then in the next chain 1 space, which is right here, you're going to do an increase. And then do another one. So do that again. So you're going to do one puff stitch in 1 chain 1 space and an increase in the second chain 1 space, and you'll repeat that all the way around. And I'll see you back here when you're done. So I just finished round 3. You should have 24 puff stitches. And so then you're going to just slip stitch right there. In the top. And chain 1. Now this is another increase round. So you are going to go in this chain 1 space right here and do a puff stitch. Chain 1. Then you're going to go into the next chain 1 space right here next to it and do another puff stitch. Just 1. So over the next 2 chain 1 spaces, you should only do 1 puff stitch. And then in the third chain 1 space, you should do 2 puff stitches. So an increase in the third one. Oops, I just did a double crochet. So in the third one, you should do an increase. So there's one. And go back into that same chain one space and do another one. And that is it. So you do 2 and then an increase, 2 and then an increase all the way around. And you should have 32 puff stitches by the time you are done. I will see you back here when you have finished. I just finished round 4. So now I am going to slip stitch, chain 1. Okay. Now we are going to do 1 puff stitch in the next 3 chain 1 spaces. So 1 right here, do a puff stitch right here. Chain 1. Do a puff stitch in the second chain 1 space. Do a puff stitch in the third chain 1 space. And then do an increase in the fourth. So do 1 puff stitch, chain 1, and then go back into the same chain 1 space and do a second puff stitch. Okay. And you will repeat this sequence all the way around, doing 3 regular puff stitches and then an increase, and I will see you back here when you're done. So I just finished round 5. Now I'm about to start my 6th and final increase round. So you join the top of round 5, you chain 1, put this right there so I know where my last puff stitch goes, and I do have 40 puff stitches. Okay, so in round 6 you're going to do 1 puff stitch in the next 4 stitches, in the next 4 chain one stitches, and then an increase in the 5th. Okay, so you do a puff stitch here, so 1 puff stitch, chain 1, 2 puff stitch in the second, chain 1, that's 2 puff stitch in the third, puff stitch in the fourth. And in the fifth chain one space, you do an increase. So do a puff stitch. Chain one, and go back into the same chain one space and do another puff stitch. Okay. You will continue this sequence all the way around until you get back to your stitch marker, and you should have 48 puff stitches by the time you are done. And I will see you back here at the end. I just finished round 6. Now round 7 through 13, you're just going to do one puff stitch in each chain one space around. So I am going to slip stitch right there. Okay, and put this. And rounds 7 through 13, you're just going to do one puff stitch in each chain one space around. So like this. And then just go into the next one. And just keep doing this until you get to round 13. And I will see you when you finished. Okay, I just finished round 13, and I did run out of the pink yarn, but luckily I had some white yarn of the same brand, so I just used that. Now I am on round 14. And I forgot to mention this in the materials, but you will need to switch to the 6mm hook because we will be decreasing quite a lot. And if you use the same size hook as we use for the rest of the beanie, it will be too small. So you will need a 6mm hook for the rest of the beanie. And so you're going to go into the first stitch and join and chain one. Okay. And we are going to put our stitch marker there. And now what we are going to do is we're going to do single crochet decreases all the way around, and you should have 48 stitches by the time you're done. So you're going to go into the top of the puff stitch. And it's kind of hard to do because your hook is so much bigger than what you've been using. But just work it in there. Sometimes you have to use the tip of the hook to do it. But, okay. Yarn over. Okay. Pull up a loop. You should have 2 loops on your hook. 1, 2. Then you're going to go into the chain. We've been working all this time in the chain space. You're not going to do that this time. You're going to go into the chain, like that, into the chain. And you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That is your first double crochet decrease. Now we're going to go into the next puff stitch and do the same thing. And this hook does not like me. And then to the next chain one and do the same thing, another decrease. And you are going to do that all the way around until you get back to your stitch marker, and you should have 48 stitches by the time, or single crochets by the time you're done, and I will see you back here when you are done. Okay, so I just finished round 14, and now rounds 15 through 22 are going to be the exact same, and we are no longer going to be joining and chaining 1. You are going to skip the chain 1 from the previous round right there and go directly into the single crochet of the top, and we are just going to be doing 1 single crochet all the way around, and you are going to be doing this for 8 rounds. So keep doing this for 8 rounds, so rounds 15 to 22. And I will see you back here when you are done. Okay, I just finished round 22. Now after this, you can just slip stitch to join. That's enough. And then you can sew in the ends. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but just sew in the end and the beanie is done. And if you want to, you can do a pom-pom and put a pom-pom on the end. They also sell pom-poms at craft stores. They sell pom-poms on Amazon and all that fun stuff. So this is what it looks like finished. It is really cute in my opinion. Now this does fit my head, and it is a little tight on my head, and I have a really, really tiny head. If you want it a little bit looser and not as form-fitting, or you have a bigger head, then all you would do is you would make either more increased rounds, or you wouldn't make as many decrease rounds. So what I did was I decreased in every stitch, so it was 48 single crochets by the time I was done decreasing. Instead of doing that, you would only decrease every other decrease, or you would do every 3 decreases or something like that. You just wouldn't decrease in every, decrease or whatever. Or you would just do more increase rounds in the puff stitch. Either way, you can do it either way so that the band isn't as tight. But, I also think that, it will stretch over time, but it's not that tight. Once you get it on, it's not that tight on my head. But I really, really, really like it. I think it turned out really adorable, really fashionable. Even though I ran out of the pink yarn and had to substitute with white halfway through, it still turned out really, really cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I will see you back here next time. Anyways, God bless, Merry Christmas, have a great and wonderful